did you see from the Bengals that made you say, you know what, maybe the Bengals is back? Or what did you see from the Bengals that made you say, this isn't the same team as the past couple of years?
That defense, number one. Luan Rama, what he did with that defense, dialing it up. Dax Hills, mix it up with pressure, with coverage. Luke Wilson in the middle came up with some picks. Great.
2 picks, by the way.
Yeah.
And
good one.
Slide to the left.
That was clean.
Crisscross. Crisscross.
So love that from the defensive side. On offense, though, Burrow, gutty performance first and foremost to get out there and play. And threw the ball damn near 50 times, 49 times.
Sheesh.
Only scored 19 points, so you definitely want to get more points. But the Rams kind of play a two high shell defense that kind of make you go the long, hard way. But gritty, didn't want to start off 0-3, played through the injury, which I didn't think he would, but played through the injury and gutted his team to a victory.
Here's Joey Burrow talking after the game about the calf injury and whether or not he was going to play and the speculation around it all. He looks so cool while he's saying this, so try not to get distracted by the video. We're here for the audio. Let's remember that.
Yeah, that's all the stuff that you weigh when you're making that decision. Do you there is risk to go out there and potentially re-injure it, but there's also a risk to go out there and be 0-3. So I wanted to be out there for my guys, and I was confident that I would be able to do what I needed to get the win.
Sports coverage this morning was saying, did they make a mistake by playing Joey Burrow last night? Now, if that question's being asked before the game,
sure.
Okay.
Makes
After
sense.
the game, though, look at him. You think? Just look at him. Look how cool he looks.
Yeah, looks okay.
It looks like his face, calf, body, vibes, aura, all completely fine.
Yeah.
So I think that was definitely a storyline going into it. But after watching him, I saw him moving. Remember, we saw him walking across that street downtown that he has to get to practice every single day.
Yep.
Of course.
Respect Cincinnati Bengals, just old school.
Yep.
High school.
Hard
team.
nose.
High school.
Yep.
Maybe youth football league feel. But he looked, he was fighting it. Now, we all know that vitamin T, Toradol can certainly do some stuff, but I don't think he looked that terrible. And he said it's going to get better and better to somebody on the sideline, I believe, before the game. I tend to believe him. I think the big conversation about whether or not he should have played was never one for him because I think he knew exactly how he would end up. And I think he looked his absolute best. And he's saying he's only going to get better, Connor.
Yeah, and him and Jamar, I feel like, is the biggest thing. Like, if he misses this game and then they're going into week 4 and maybe they still don't have that connection, having that chemistry is so massive. And, T. Higgins had a few drops. So if you were to go back and look at it, like Burrow, he played really well. If T. Higgins catches 2 or 3 of those balls, he's probably ending up over 300 yards on the day with one good calf on him.
Yeah, and he, I think his calf's getting better, though.
It's getting better.
Yeah, 100% calf.
Hey, these calves seem to linger, though, huh?
Yes, they do.
A lot more calves these days than we've seen in some time.
With the big players.
We're learning a lot more about calves right now. I think normally hammies, now it's kind of moved down to the calf. You know why?
Why's that?
It's this damn turf.
Yeah, you're
My
right.
God.
You're right.
Those little pebbles.
It's this damn turf.
It is.
That's what it is.
It
It
is.
has to be. You know what? How loud the players got about grass? You're loud. Players got real loud.
Very
Very loud about grass.
Still loud.
Last week kind of killed.
How do you even hurt a calf?
Well, what's that, pal? Like a cow? Like a baby cow?
No, the leg muscle, the calf.
How do you even hurt it? Well,
I
you
get.
do that stair. Remember, that's how you stretch them. You stand on the edge of the stair,
Yep.
and you do your thing down. So I think it's always when you're walking upstairs is how you
'Cause
potentially.
I've done the quad, I've done the hamstring. My calf's been fine forever, so I don't understand.
You lucky son of a
You need to knock on some wood.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine. I don't care if something happens to my calf.
That guy broke
Tony.
his foot running one route.
He did.
Down there in Centennial
See, that
Park.
I understand. That's
You might step up on this stage after taking a piss after this hour, Tony, and you might blow out your
I don't need a
Achilles.
calf right now.
Calf, pretty important part, though, I do believe. And it looks like Joe's things. But the players going so hard about the grass, and the grass. Now every injury that happens has everybody that's like, oh, really, to the players. Oh, can't believe that happened on grass. Oh, can't believe that happened on grass. Now it's become like a verbal joust, pretty much. Florio is really, I think he's at the tip of the spear for that particular battle, but he's not the only one. I can't wait to hear because we talked to Dr. Sills, and we're not saying turf had anything to do with any of these calves. We're making a joke of this. This is obviously a mockery. Injuries happen. That's just kind of how the human body works. That's how the sport of football works. That's how everything works in a combat, physical, sport like that. Dr. Sills, the NFL's CMO, Not marketing, no. The chief medical officer came on our show in the middle of the big grass push, you know? And we're one of the only people that get to talk to this guy.
Yeah.
It is, and we take that as a real responsibility. And we'd like to let everybody know, we fire away at Dr. Sil. He's a doctor.
Yes.
So if my dumbass in a tank top can get you, you shouldn't be a doctor.
Right.
He's a brain surgeon pretty much. So we fire away. We feel obligated to do it. And he was telling us, like, what we're being told from our stats, our research, and this robot that we have that scans every single field.
Yeah.
There's actually a turf that might be the healthiest.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the big grass push. And then the NFL is like, well, we agree that grass is better than some of the turfs, but there's this one particular super turf that's actually super great. I'll be excited to see when that all comes to a head. Yesterday, you had the Joe Burrow news pretty much about him playing when a lot of people were speculating that maybe he was not. Have you heard anything post-game about how his calf feels? Aaron just told us that there's only a certain group around Joe that fully understand how much pain he was in last night and how hard it is to battle through a calf injury, especially as a quarterback. What are you hearing in Cincinnati, and what are the expectations going forward?
He's really sore today. Joe Burrow is very, very sore today. And Aaron is right. He does have a very small circle. Joe doesn't talk to a lot of people. Joe Burrow is all football all the time. In fact, I recently spoke to his dad about the new contract he got, Coach Jimmy there, and he shared with me that Joe doesn't even let him go by the house during the week. While he's preparing for games, even on home games. So, the team will stay at a hotel. His parents can't even go to his house with Joe there. What they do is, as soon as Joe leaves for the hotel, he texts his parents and says, okay, I left the house. You can come now, because they stay at his house when they go to the games. So he's that intense about the preparations and keeping his circle so tight. So Dad is not my source ever, by the way, just to make that clear.
Yeah.
He keeps them very far away. But that being said, look, the building was really split headed into this game because they knew what they were facing here, a situation where they could perhaps, lose 3 games in a row. And we all know that statistically this would put them in a really tough position to make the playoffs. So they knew the best chances they had was having Joe Burrow out there at not 100%, right? I never received like a true number of what he was at, but it's sore. It's been sore. He's been dealing with this for weeks now. And it's not something that's just going to go away, because obviously playing at game speed last night, taking hits and dealing with it, it's not like it put him behind the ball a little bit, but it certainly didn't advance him.
Got it. And will it ever be 100%? We're going to assume no. And I appreciate the fact that Joe says to his dad, I'd assume it's his dad, not his mom, but I'm not dealing with your shit. Okay. So you guys get in here afterwards. We'll talk after the games. I appreciate the hell out of you, but I got a job to do. And Joe looked like Joe again last night at the end of it. I love it. Hopefully they're able to continue to grow. Go ahead, AJ.
Diana, were you able to get any information on possibly what owner Mike Brown was saying to Joe when he picked him up in that golf cart and did the little loop during warm-ups?
I know. I've been trying to hire lip readers for me. Like, can you tell me what was being said here? No, I've asked around. I've asked a lot of people, actually, with Cincinnati. I don't know exactly what was said, but I like all the guesses you guys have been making. And you have to figure that Joe knew the cameras were on him, because at first when I saw this, my thought was he must have been told really bad news, because he didn't look too happy when he got off the golf cart. But maybe he just said to him, like, hey, like, so what are you spending your money on these days? What have you been up to, And he's just like, it's a lot of stress to deal with all this money, man. Yeah, it is. Yeah, to see, I'm kind of commentating here as it goes. But yeah, no, I don't know exactly what he said, but I can tell you this, it was kept really close, in the building about what they wanted to do. I was bugging everybody yesterday to be straightforward with you, just trying to get a piece of information of where he was at. And I felt like a lot more people knew than what they wanted to actually share. But then eventually, as the day went, everyone's like, look, he's playing. Like we'll stop with the dance now.
Yeah, I think he might have been telling the owner there, hey, I'm playing. And that might have been Mr. Brown saying, like, we do not want you to play. But if you play, like, anything that happens is on this is on you. You know, you got it. And then he says, I'm done with this conversation. While the golf cart's moving, he does it. After the game, he didn't look that worried about it. He looked super cool. They said it should get better, but calf could linger. I love that he went out there and played for his team because it's an old school thought. You know, like, hey, 65% of me on the field makes our team better. I'm going to go play. Joe's an Ohio guy. He'll keep it going.